administration has been sending pallets of baby formula for illegal mothers and their babies, while American mothers and babies cannot find baby formula. This is completely unacceptable, and this needs to end now. I have one thing to say, and this is something that it's hard to even imagine, but we cannot trust our government. If you're an expecting mother, I strongly urge you to do the best you can to try to breastfeed your baby, because you cannot depend on this government.
Marjorie Taylor Greene with more genius words there. You can't trust our government. I'm just an official of the government that never gets floated. But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset, as you heard, about the nationwide baby formula shortage. Now, that is true, there is a shortage, but the reasons behind it, we're gonna get into that. But she did want to point out that those the evil folks in the Biden administration's horrific policies at the border are actually the reasons for it. And of course, there's this division, and those damn immigrants are the reason. Let's watch more.
Absolutely have to share with you right now is the craziness of the empty shelves Biden movement and the fact that they are sending pallets of baby formula to the border. Meanwhile, in our own district at home, we cannot find baby formula. This is a picture from a Target. Oh, it's upside down, sorry. Okay, we literally are struggling to find baby formula around the country. Moms are struggling, going from store to store to store, and then the stores are actually capping the amount of baby formula that they will sell them. And this got sent to me by a Border Patrol agent this morning and said, this is disgusting. You will not believe this. They're receiving pallets and more pallets of baby formula at the border. This was taken at Ursula processing facility, where thousands are being housed and processed and then released subsequently into the United States.
Same story when it comes to these Congress folks. That's Kat Cammack. She's a Florida representative. And she's claiming that, of course, the reason behind this shortage is those pictures that she got from an unnamed Border Patrol agent with all of these pictures of all of this baby formula being hoarded at the border and given to people who are undeserving of it because they're not really humans anyway, right? Or the division just continues down that road. I'm curious when Joe Biden is gonna start uniting the country with these folks. Anyways, more about this, because all these reports with reasons why and these issues at the border, they're all unconfirmed. This is just pictures of baby formula on a random shelf and also on a random pallet. But Kat Cammack, her push did allow all this to happen. There's tweets from Alex Brucewitz, who said, "Welcome to Biden's America. Illegal migrants first to get pallets of hard to find baby formula." And Katie Arrington, she's also a candidate. "When migrants at the border have better access to baby formula, we're following the Biden America Last policies. It is time to put America first and prioritize our needs here at home." Also, the election wizard, breaking: Biden administration shipping pallets of baby formula to illegal aliens, says Republican representative. So he at least washes his hand. They wash their hands of that as well. Also, headlines from newspapers that are talking about this particular from the New York Post: border detention center looks stocked with baby formula despite shortage. I want you guys to notice some of these words they're using. Looks stocked, because they know these are unconfirmed. Also, according to a representative that's from Florida down there, they can wash their hands of it. Also, you have to scroll a bit further down before the New York Post does point this out, though. The Post was unavailable to immediately independently verify the location of the images or obtain additional information about the history and frequency of shipments or the distribution of the formula. In other words, we have no idea what we're talking about, but the headline suggests something completely different. Further down, let's look at these photos, because our producer Emily, she cracked into the case. Here's the one picture of this formula. On the left is the pallets that are being hoarded by all those undeserving immigrants at the border. And as you can see from also on the other side, the amount that's on that shelf is about the same that's on that middle section of the pallet. Because if you look even closer, let's check out as labeled there, the top and the bottom of those colored parts are actually tons of applesauce, not baby formula. I don't know if there's a shortage of applesauce. Maybe there is. They should complain about that as their next political war that's gonna push them further. Either way it goes, that's really where we're standing as far as what the misinformation as far as this goes. And maybe there's more to this. But before you say there's a definitive answer as to why this is happening to deserving American families versus undeserving other folks that don't deserve to feed their children, I want to get your first thoughts before we clear up where these shortages are actually coming from, Jessica. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as I know, I'm a fan of the go-go squeeze. I like the applesauce. I'm not above it. I'm a busy woman. It's a good snack on the go.
Never admit that.
I know that it is not a replacement for breast milk. And if I could produce go-go squeeze, I would be thrilled. But let's be real, like there are not pallets of baby formula going to the border. And I think the crazy part about this is we know that family separation is still happening at the border. And like the youngest infants that have been separated from their mothers were 4 months old. They don't have the option to breastfeed in that situation. So saying that we shouldn't be sending any baby formula to the border is suggesting that we should simply just let those separated infants die. That's coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I wouldn't be surprised if she thought something like that based on everything that she said before. She doesn't think of these people as human beings.
I think that's been pretty explicit. Also, I thought there's the pro-life party, and also what about the babies? Right. There's only certain babies because they've also explicitly talked about which babies that they'd like to have around. Let's get to the real details behind this because there is a shortage, as we pointed out. So there's 3 factors that are driving the US baby formula shortage: bacteria, a virus, and a trade policy. Over at the Atlantic, they broke all this down. First, the bacteria. After the recent deaths of at least 2 infants from a rare infection, the Food and Drug Administration investigated Abbott, a major producer of infant formula, and discovered traces of a pathogen in a Michigan plant. As a result, the FDA recalled several brands of formula, and parents were advised to not buy or use some formula tied to that plant. That brings us to the second. The virus. During the spring of 2020, formula sales skyrocketed upwards as people stockpiled formula just like they stockpiled toilet paper. As Lyman Stone, the director of research at the consulting firm Demographic Intelligence, said this. Then, as families worked through their stockpiles, sales fell a lot. The oscillation made planning for production extremely difficult. It was complicated to get an idea of the actual market size, and orders are now surging faster than supply is recovering. And finally, the third factor, America's regulatory and trade policy. FDA regulation of formula is so stringent that most of the stuff that comes out of Europe is illegal to buy here due to technicalities like labeling requirements. So the economics of the situation went down, the supply and demand changed, and also general capitalism. Or even, the FDA and our regulatory agencies are making sure that certain things aren't coming in. They found the bacterial thing and they told people what to do with it and they shut that down. They're worried about different shipments coming from other countries and make sure that it's fit for American intake. So we should be happy about these things. And I get the shortage issues, but at least report it for what it is. Then maybe blame Biden for it then. I don't know. They find any way to get to that point anyway, but at least be truthful rather than saying it's those filthy immigrants, because that is really the main key here. It's not exciting to them unless it gets to that point. You have any other thoughts on this, Jess?
Yeah, I think we hear this argument a lot on the right that public goods are being stolen by people who are immigrants coming to the United States. They belong to the American people. Conservatives are always surprised. Let's go back to knocking doors for Bernie Sanders. Most people who identify with the right don't know that people who are working in the United States as immigrants who are not citizens are paying taxes. If you're contributing to our economy, regardless of paying taxes, your labor is going towards our productive capacity and our GDP. You have a right to the public goods we have in this country if you live here and work here. It's pretty simple, and it's a really bad faith argument. And I think also Marjorie Taylor Greene loves blaming the government, loves blaming illegal immigrants. But the right will never call out corporate power. And right now, 4 companies own 89% of the baby formula market, which is a lot. And so when you've got supply chain issues and problems in some factories, it's a big issue when all of the baby formula is coming from such a small place. We're really being hurt by the lack of diversification in the market. And so, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not calling for antitrust, but that's really what we should be thinking about in situations like this.
Can you imagine the speech Marjorie Taylor Greene would have talking about antitrust or talking about how monopolies and the way our economy gets run into funneled to only certain folks, and that they control things, and if something goes wrong with them that we're screwed? Oh my God.
I would love to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene just say, it turns out our economy is being run by Satan, like she said at the Catholic Church recently.
Because I entered the Capitol and I saw a pitchfork.